Hey everybody, this is Rydo and we are back to Wolfenstein the Old Blood. So, the power went out after the last recording and my battery backup could only last so long, but the game seems to have saved everything fairly well. We stopped at a chapter. This game does have some autosaving to it, although oddly it does seem to imply that I've only actually been playing the game for 36 minutes even though it was an hour long episode. Um, so at the German Alps section, we missed a character if we were to go back to it, and you can really see how short this game is going to be at this rate. We're doing prison today, unless it gets really, really long per chapter. Uh, we're going to be done very quickly. And then we already have one challenge that, if the game is incredibly that short, it might make some sense to take on the challenges. And then as far as collectibles and extras, um, gold, we have not collected anything for. We have 4 pieces of concept art that we could look at. And we have 4 pieces of characters and 1 letter that we found. And yeah, all of that seems to be fairly small. I guess we could look at statistics here. Now that we've actually played, we have a value of 610, and whoever Agent Grandma is must have friended me on Steam, and they have a 4,577 rank, which does, I think, really imply just how your scores could be not that high. Seems like your scores are literally the number of points you get for doing a specific action. So just playing the game more would always increase your score by something. Honestly, it looks like you could probably just set up a scenario where you died over and over again, and that would very slowly increase your score. Uh, let's resume here. The game actually did switch around the monitors numbers after I rebooted my computer, which is fine. That happens quite a bit. Although I've never really seen a game run into that problem. So I would say this is programmed slightly differently. It's interesting. I guess if it says part 1 and then it says chapter 1, then you assume there will be a part 2, chapter 2.
God damn it, Blazkowicz. You done messed up now.
We had an abilities at that first tutorial section.
Blazkowicz?
You can see our health went back up to 60.
Hey, Blazkowicz.
There's a whole bunch of
You awake in there?
rats or bugs. And we already collected the collectible, so that auto-saved. Alright. Let's get around here and talk.
I'm here, Wesley.
Good.
I'll get us out of here somehow.
You ever been to Snowdonia, Blazkowicz?
No, never been.
It's a majestic and beautifully desolate place. Rolling hills as far as the eye can see. My father used to take me hiking there sometimes.
It'd be interesting if it turned out Wesley is a zombie right now talking to you.
He'd pack a basket full of bread and cheddar, bottle of ale for him and a soft drink for me. Even found a fossil there once.
Or even if it was
Someday I broke my foot
that
on a
he
wet
was
stone.
in a robot
That was the
machine,
best day of my life.
or that this was just a
Wish I had
recording.
chance to go back. Evening, officer.
It's a little late in the game to start caring about Wesley, though, as a character. Let's see. Well, looks like we are going to climb up. It'd be funny if you fell here and this wasn't the way up. Okay, we now have a lead pipe. Or two. So we now have a new weapon. Instead of knives, we have pipes. What's the difference between a pipe and a knife if you have both at your advantage? I think you'd always choose the knife. It would be quicker and quieter. Oh, okay. So we now have this wall climbing. I really love the top left goals that pop up in games nowadays. There's definitely a lot of old games that where that would be very helpful to tell you. It says right stick, alternate no, it's right trigger and left trigger. I'm a little bit far away from the screen, so... Oh, this is going to actually be something. We have to hold down the right trigger and the left trigger to climb. Alright, it's a cool little experiment. I bet we don't use it too often. And then if I was really just to try and rush here, I wouldn't be surprised if... like, I really...
Soldiers leashed up by those cables. Turning off the power maybe shuts them down.
Is there any way to not be seen by this guy? Or has this guy already seen me? It's half steampunk, half electropunk. You have to press and hold it. Yeah, this is definitely a different experience as far as a video game is concerned. Much more stealth, very much not the experience that you would have playing just the old-fashioned Wolfenstein 3D. Alright, right stick takedown.
Seen your type before back in Death's Head's X-Labs.
Yeah, and the fact that he's like seen Death Head's X-Labs does really give the implication that this isn't the first time you've been to Castle Wolfenstein, or a Castle Wolfenstein. This definitely looks like something that you would interact with because it's yellow, but it isn't, which is odd because they just established the idea of a yellow handle. And boy, does that not look like a yellow handle. So that's bad game design. Or visuals. Yeah, I'm definitely getting the feeling that there is a better way that I could have played that first section. This again looks like something you could interact with. That would have let you unlock a perk before you even started chapter 1. But I guess I'll be fine, and it doesn't really it's really going to be a situation where I have to get all the perks. When you're standing up, I guess you can see how it drains faster. Seriously? We're gonna have a full-on reset. Well, I guess at some level, if you're introducing the idea of... If you're introducing the idea of... There's an overlap there. So the question is, can I take this guy down quickly and quietly? Or does it get bloody? And I drop the gun. I don't think you can go backwards. And I guess the idea is that these guys are just really, really zombies or machines. It is good design here that this is down here so you can crouch down and really see that it's powering down without having to stand up just to see it powering down. Now the question, I guess, comes down to, do we power down this guy? I suspect it very well may be a case that these guys are rather armored. So if I was to get into a one-on-one shootout with them, I wouldn't be surprised if that's actually very dangerous. Like, even if I have their guns may not be designed to actually penetrate their own armor. Which ideally, that is how you would love to set up any kind of gun, is that it would kill the enemy and have absolutely no negative effect at all to as far as the other people. There's no zoom in function, right? Nope. So I don't think it's a case where you could grab a gun, which I think that gun despawned, and drop it down there to help them. Nor does it feel like you can go down there and help them. I don't even think... Let's see. Yeah. Yeah, it wouldn't even clip through. It just treats that as a complete surface. And noticeably that also gets treated as a complete surface. When you walk on it. So unless we want to try something really crazy and break the stealth and just like shoot the cameras, I think the goal here probably is to just wait until that passes, which seems to take its sweet time to do that, and then hold this down. You run into this problem with a lot of stealth games, though, where you walk through an area, and see, there was a quick save, and walking through an area, it was a collectible, not an actual, like, you'll walk through a door and you'll be standing up and then you'll immediately want to crouch back down. Okay. If I take that overcharges to 80, I'm still trying to find something that would let me overcharge to 200. I'm hearing sound effects. And I'm seeing sleeping dogs. I could see this game specifically, there's some dog food to eat. I could see this game experimenting with that, because there is a level of cruelty killing a dog one way or the other. Oddly, he doesn't go all the way to the edge here. That I could see players just not being happy about. Definitely feels like they're working their way up towards forcing you. Right. Are there two of them, or is that just one guy that's going in a longer loop? I think it's one guy going in a longer loop. Nope. They definitely are making actions like they are seeing you, but they're not really doing anything like they're seeing you. So it does seem like this guy just has a longer pattern. And then you hear like a spin up sound effect, and I wonder if that is the warning that you've gotten too close. Of course, the problem here is I think this guy is going to end up walking back and forth, and it's going to be kind of risky to let him walk past, then wait for the other guy to walk out of the way, take out the other guy. Yeah. It comes down to just how quickly we can move here. There's like 2 or 3 people, it seems like. So can we wait for this guy to go? Oops. Here we go. Yeah. There's no surviving that on even easy. Okay. And we don't have to get collectibles again, but I do think if we stealth take down these 2 dogs first. And it does definitely feel like they have specifically made it so that you are not overcharged by 4, overcharged by 5, and then that's still just 100 by the time you get over here to overcharge by 80. So you're gonna have to basically be in the same room with a ton of food to get an overcharge up to 200. Alright. It's not a really good system, I would have to say. They do see you. They're seeing you. They're pointing at you. They just seem to lose interest if you move into the shadows or into a corner a little bit better. That feels very robotic. But yeah, I do have to say that the overcharge system is not a good system. It's antiquated and kind of silly, and it definitely comes off as like you're playing a game versus it being realistic or even making sense in a reality. humans do not have the capability of going above 100% healthy, whatever you define 100% healthy as. And even if they did have the capability of going 100% above 100% healthy, then wouldn't you just be defining a new normal where the 100% wasn't actually 100%? In the most cases, when somebody says 100% or above 100%, that implies somebody has manipulated the numbers one way or another. One also assumes you cannot just sneak up behind these guys. Because if you could just sneak up without powering down, then why are we powering down? Yeah. That really wouldn't make a lot of sense. And just looking down here, I don't think it's going to unlock any kind of secret. As we get closer to the middle, it becomes a tighter question. It also definitely just kind of feels like this guy walks maybe a little bit slower. Alright. Let's just rush over here and take him down quickly. There's another piece of armor we can grab. Although, it's questionable whether there's a real value in getting the armor. It once again comes off almost like armor is a collectible more than an item that's actually useful. Like, because really on the face of it, if you told me there was 100 health and 100 armor in each of these levels, and these levels were relatively short, that would work just as well as a level having 300 pieces of health or 1,000 pieces of health and the level being a lot bigger. Alright. We've got to come over to this side and just hope we can hide. It does really come off as once they see you and start shooting, though, they may always be so alert to that. That guy's like still way over there. Alright. And that beam ends there. Which definitely gives me the idea that this guy really can't do anything more. So are we supposed to just try and sneak up on this guy? Or just sneak past the guy? Because I don't see a power generator. The points in which you are overpowering, this feels like that would explode at some point. But if that were to explode, I feel like that would just hurt me and not lead to connecting towards that power rail. And he just drops the gun at that point. So the question is, should we risk this and have to do this section again? Or should we just go forward and maintain stealth? Part of the problem here is I don't know if I move fast enough to catch up to this guy. Like, that is not really coming off as moving fast enough. There is all kinds of armor everywhere that I missed. Yeah, my only hope would be to come around the corner like this and sneak up behind him, or just straight up take him down. Yeah. That doesn't work. Alright. So let's ask a question. If I was to shoot this... Nope. You don't have that opportunity there. But you do have the opportunity here to blow off a whole bunch of armor to get your armor up to the max, and then you have a big gory, bloody effect. So I think we know that it was more of a case that we should have just stealthed. Although if you were really looking for collectibles, now you would just walk backwards, you'd double check every little section here. You'd try to overcharge your health and armor. You can't overcharge the armor, really. You would probably still don't want to set off an alarm by having those see you. That does explode, so good to know that. But almost certainly there should be a smarter, easier way to open a door and throw a gun through, hold it open with your knee. But maybe it's a case you only have a certain amount of time before it shocks you. I guess that's the case. Get our armor back up to 100%. And I think that's the only way we can really go. This door. It would probably be nicer if there was more of a visual indicator when a door was openable versus a door not being openable. Yes, I see that there's no handle and lock here, but from a far enough distance away, that looks like that is a potential viable path, and it doesn't actually seem like that is the case. Fell and took some damage. I don't know if that was because I was crouching or what, but oddly that damage has also regenerated. So this is in German, and BJ Blazkowicz shouldn't be able to understand this because he doesn't really understand German that well. Her having Führer in her name, I think, is wrong, because I think Führer was a special title made for Hitler alone, and I don't think that there was any other Führer's titles given, unless the implication is that in this timeline Hitler is already gone, which that may be the case in some of these stories, is that Hitler has been killed and yet the war went worse because Hitler was killed. Like most historians do really seem to imply that he wasn't actually that good of a leader, so if he had been replaced and martyred, it would be very believable that the war might have gone worse than it did. There's a lot of stuff here that looks like it's places you could reach, but oddly I can't like jump up on this specific barrel to get higher, nor can I seemingly get on top of this bookshelf to get higher. But I could climb up there, and I think that's probably what I have to do, because I don't think I can climb here. It's probably slightly sucky that that you would have to press X to start to climb, and then do the left-right trigger kind of quick time event. But whatever. Here we got some more cockroaches. I'm noticing that the head bobbing and the pop-in doesn't seem to be happening as much. I considered changing the field of view to see if that would improve things. I guess this is Nazi gold. But then there's kind of a pretty odd warning in the options that says if you change the field of view, it might cause visual glitches and pop-in, and we're already having that, so like, sure, maybe lowering the field of view might help, but it is more than likely that tutorial level was more of a different engine type game in a big open world, and that's why it was having so much troubles, as it was just not really optimized. Falling does just cause trouble. I assume headshots matter, whereas obviously in the original Wolfenstein game, they would not count for anything. Because Wolfenstein 3D effectively was a 2D game pretending to look like and be a 3D game. Whereas we now have modern 3D games where you can look up and down, left and right, jump up and down, forward and backward. I guess there was another stealth path here we could have gone on. Although at that level, I think it would have been fairly silly to try and stealth between those two. Maybe this is just because I'm playing on easy, but there doesn't really feel like there was any penalty for not going stealth. Let's see. Wonder if that's an Easter egg or if that's trying to tell me something. As far as seems like each one of these sewer grates have a label on them for kind of no reason. They seem to all connect to the same place. Maybe the idea is that the Germans are just so meticulous that they label everything, even pointless sewer grates. And this part here doesn't seem like you can push it. Yeah, it's not just naturally moving when I walk next to it. And here you can see some just kind of low texture cans, which that's fine. Like we're not here to look at textures of cans. And I assume with every new doorway, there's another opportunity to... Alright. Yeah, with every new doorway, I think there's potentially an opportunity to reset to stealth. Which seems like that might be the right move. I guess the question just comes down to how dumb are these people? Am I supposed to be changing their walking patterns? Or am I supposed to... can I just push the thing? It does kind of feel like I should stop picking up food unless I'm really going to max out the health. Yeah. Alright, that seems to be about as far as you can go. And after that you would have to find a different path. The idea of there being electrical tunnels is something. It is good for the game. Questionable as to just like the design of Castle Wolfenstein. Because it is somewhat suspect as to why there would be concrete tunnels like this unless they added them after the fact and made the hallways more narrow. Which I guess that's somewhat believable. And this clearly just would have gone further in that direction. Now there is a slight danger here that this guy's gonna start shooting at me as I open the door. But nope. So on we go. The original Wolfenstein 3D showing Castle Wolfenstein never looked anything like this, obviously. And it is somewhat questionable as to just how... Ooh, I wonder if this is a takedown we should really invoke. I mean, it looks like we should. But it also feels like a trap. Yeah, that definitely feels like they are trying to set you up for more of a shootout section, which is believable because the game is being a little bit more stealth than you would want. Let's see. No, drop that. Come over here to this. Smash this. Plus 20, plus 30, plus 10. So that's like a 50 overcharge. These ones don't seem to open. That doesn't seem to open. That doesn't seem to open. Alright. And here. It might be a case that I'm getting less health than I normally would because I'm playing on an easier difficulty, on the easiest difficulty. And we just have to flip that. We don't have to do anything else. So I feel like what would have happened there had I not killed the guy, then he would have probably been re-energized and attacked me. That's hardly much of a puzzle, but I could understand the idea there. I don't see a real reason for these guys to take on these guys. Alright, let's just shoot this. And then wait for the guy behind him to have a clear shot. This thing recoils quite a bit. There is definitely something to the health system and the armor system, because it does not quite work the way I would think it would work. You do seem to kind of lose health. Let's see. I guess maybe this would have unpowered the people and we could have played stealthily. But too little too late there. Yeah, I'm not sure the exact ratio, but it definitely does feel like one hit of damage does like one hit of armor damage, or probably a bullet does something like maybe 2 or 3 pieces of damage, and one is reduces the armor and then one reduces the health. And since the health regenerates and the armor does not, you kind of prefer it to that way, where you do lose some health but not as much health. But it does oddly make a complicated math calculation in the middle of an action first-person shooter game or a stealth first-person shooter game. And it definitely feels like we should try to get that perk to increase our armor as quickly as possible, because playing on easy, you're going to have a ton of armor. Interesting that there's a electric gate at the top here, because that basically implies that they can get off the rail at some point, or some kind of drone or something can fly through that. It feels more like a drone could fly through that. And remember, we started this level getting like blindsided and thrown into prison. I wouldn't be surprised if we walk through one of these doors and we get blindsided and thrown into a new environment. Prison kennels map. Like, the map, though, as far as how this all goes, like, you press down on the D-pad to see the map. Let's see. We need to collect helmets if we were going to do that, and I just missed some helmets, which kind of means that we should constantly have our armor slightly below 100 just to pick up helmets, and specifically helmets when we do need to pick up armor. So we did have a map. None of the other D-pad buttons do too much. D-pad up changes to an alternate fire. And see, that may be Wesley there getting dragged by the first big Nazi guy we saw. They did say that the rumor was he fed the prisoners to the dogs. You don't need the alternate to climb automatically, which I guess maybe that's why there is an X here. You also don't have to hold the left trigger to start at this point. You only have to hold the right trigger for the next climb. And most of these climbs are going to be fairly short. And then maybe you don't need A to climb up. Maybe that should just be automated. It is odd to have literally 4 different buttons involved in your climbing mechanic. Okay. We have no gun. It does kind of feel like that's where we're heading. In there. The single hit took him out. And this guy's on alert now. Dogs, never really a challenge. But you can, I guess, see a quick time event if they do attack you. There'll be a challenge when somebody else is shooting you and you've got a dog or two trying to maul on you at the same time. Let's see. Pause now if you want to read this. That's where we're going, so we should investigate a little bit further. There's clearly gates on some of these, so they clearly know something's up. So if there's a path here, I wonder if that's just a tunnel that you would pop up from this point, from the other point, to do more of a stealth thing. But at a certain point, it's questionable whether there is even a need for a stealth thing, Because it looks like you might have just been able to get through this super easy. It is very possible, though, that the playing this on higher difficulty, stealth becomes way more important of a factor. Yeah, and it definitely feels like it definitely does feel like this game might be big enough or short enough, as it were, to justify bumping it up to a higher difficulty and playing it a second time. Although, if you're going to play it on very easy, it's going to be really crazy to then try and play very hard. So, are we going to follow the mouse that we're at? Because I think that's what the game is trying to teach me. Let's follow the rat. And see, yeah, that would have been the other entrance. Alright, let's follow the rat. I don't know if that was the only way through, or if that was just one of the ways through. I think that probably was the only way through. You don't seem to really have levels on as far as the maps. And the way the map is exposed like this, it almost feels like there is a goal to walk over 100% of the map and reveal all of that. It's an interesting question. Let's double check the perks. Overcharge your health to 200. Collect helmets. We haven't done any silent commander kills yet. Commanders must be... yeah, we kind of know what those are. Last bullets of the clip. Dual wield kills would increase the ammunition pickup. So do a bunch of dual wield kills early in the game, then you get more ammo. 5 kills with this. We need 200, so that's going to be a while. Kills from cover, we haven't done anything. I don't think the game has even taught us about cover. Pipe head explosions. 10. 5 stealth takedowns. So if we really had just tried to do all takedowns, we then would get health points for any future takedowns. So you go down that path and you are rewarded for the rest of the game, despite the game feeling fairly short. Let's look at the map. Yeah. It does very much feel like if you were to try to reveal every part of the map, you would have to just walk everywhere against the walls. And even internal spots like this. And there may not really be a reward for that. It may just be that the game is doing that to help you know where you've been. Use pipe to destroy unstable walls. Good to know. So that was that first exclamation point, and then the next exclamation point is a climbing up. It would have been weird if the exclamation point was actually a bad guy. I think at some point we probably will start to see bad guys on the menu to some extent, but I mean on the map to some extent, but I think we'll probably get an ability from that. And it definitely feels like that was a way to go. Maybe not the only way to go, though. The game would have to be fairly short, shorter than even I think it would be, if you can't unlock all the perks in the game on one playthrough. And there really is a argument that you kind of need to take a stealth playthrough and then a non-stealth playthrough if you want to experience it all. Okay. We are now up here, which may imply that that really was the only path. Right. You're definitely oddly getting a audio hint. Kind of, I don't know if that's supposed to be a rewarding audio sound or just an indication of you're potentially raising the alarm. But it definitely feels like these robotic versions of people are not intelligent. There's a real question as to when do we get to the zombies here? Yeah. Yeah, the map's not showing people, so we'll just have to keep an eye out ourselves and see if we can hear him. I assume these dogs will bark at some level, and when they do bark, that will set off alarms. Is this guy down? I don't even see him. He's not down there. Oh, he's way up there. So this is just dogs down here. So we are much safer. Yeah. It would be a little bit cheating if what happens is everybody you kill at the beginning of the game turns into a zombie and you fight them a second time in the exact same places, and they're just wasting or making you play the game every level twice. If it were going to work that way, since I do kind of think this was probably going to be DLC, you would also then hope that there would have been some kind of mechanic that would justify that idea. Like, it would, I think, have to be something like not killing them stops them from turning into a zombie, or makes them appear in a different location. That's kind of what I would assume if you were going to introduce a mechanic like that. Or killing them before they turn into a zombie actually makes them weaker zombies, versus not killing them and stealthing makes them stronger zombies. This is where we started. So we came in here, we pulled this, then we ran over here. And I guess this arrow is pointing me to go that direction, in case you get lost. Which is somewhat believable. Yeah, and there definitely is a possibility here where we are ready to leave and just do some shooting. Although it does definitely feel like this whole level should have been 100% stealth. It's also been about an hour now, so I'm hoping that this is near a good stopping point. It may be very much that these levels are just fairly long. Yeah. You can see bugs crawling around and a odd toilet of some sort. I wonder if it is specifically fall damage that is recoverable versus other levels. Should we take this guy down? Pause now, I guess, if you want to read this. This is some kind of mental facility where they're, I think, experimenting on them people. And we want to pry that open. Yeah, and I just question whether this is a boss fight or this is the reveal of the zombies, which don't seem like they've happened yet. Let's go and talk to this guy.
Tell me about the secret. What does Helga know?
Oh, mein Junge. Bist du von der Front zurück? Ich hätte nie gedacht, dass ich dich wieder sehe. Oh, mein kleiner süßer Junge. Oh.
Sorry, old man. You mistake me for someone else.
Ich dachte, eine Sekunde lang.
Is he gonna talk?
Wie die Jahre geflogen sind. Früher saßen wir immer am See, bis die Sonne unterging.
So it seems like you could just walk away from this guy, but this is probably somewhat important. Helga is the main bad girl.
Im Wasser deutlicher als ich selbst.
I feel like he's gonna ask you to kill him.
Ich weiß doch, wie ich dir durchs Haar gefahren bin. Und du ein bisschen von deinem Brot genommen.
Or there's an achievement for killing him.
Den Blick fest auf die Angelschnur gerichtet.
Of course, beating his head in with a pipe is hardly a
Dass ich halt beißen sollte.
compassionate way to kill somebody.
Jahre vergangen sind, mein Sohn. Nicht wahr?
Yeah, but it does feel like these are just crazy soldiers from the German military, which is, yeah, that's believable. Yeah, and so unless there was something here that I could find to do for this guy, I don't think I can do anything. So either leave him or run forward and press B to sprint slide, which to run means click
Wesley,
the...
I tell you about Aunt Sarah, diagnosed with dementia during college. Medication made her drowsy and strange. I remember those eyes of hers, like dirty windows on some derelict shack. Grandma told me it passed through the blood.
So it seems like there might be a theme here where the zombies you see may just be hallucinations or implied to be hallucinations. Yeah, I don't think the game ends here. what we should look here for. If we're still doing tutorials, there's like one more concept art, 2 characters that we haven't found, and probably 2 or 3 pieces of gold we haven't found. So, yeah, there's a possibility that we walk around this place and we find Wesley, and that's the end. But there is also a possibility that the game is just going to continuously go on. We don't have to listen to each of these people talking to us, which at some level probably is unfair, that you have several crazy people here not willing to talk to you, and then one person that gets a whole monologue. But I don't know how you really balance that out. You don't want to have that many crazy people giving monologues. All of these toilets look filthy and awful, and this looks incredibly bloody, and there's hash marks on every single tile, which feels like they've taken just 2 or 3 patterns and randomized them on the hash marks, which is good enough, I imagine. Down we go. And we could overcharge 80 with that, or we could sleep here and we could overcharge 40. So wait a minute, if we can overcharge 80 here and then overcharge 40 there, then we've just gotten healthy upgrade perk 1. So at least we'll make that level of progress. But yeah, it does seem like this game is going to run up. Of course, at some point, if you could have overcharged to 250 and then probably overcharged to 300 all at the same time, you could have unlocked all the health upgrades, unless what's required to unlock this 3rd upgrade isn't overcharging your health. Alright, well, restarting the whole level doesn't seem like it's ever going to be a smart idea. It does feel like these levels are going to be longer, so 8 levels potentially at 2 hours each. Seems like you have an opportunity there for real decent amount of gameplay. Like the game would have felt a little short at 8 hours. At 16 hours or more, with the opportunity to play the game multiple times because of the multiple difficulties and the challenges and everything else, that might make this work as a decent little experience. In a lot of ways, multiple difficulties, I think, are falling out of fashion in games for good reason. Most games do not benefit by having multiple difficulties in the way that they actually expect you to play on easy, then medium, then hard, or start on hard, then they unlock a even more difficult hard, a very hard, and then they sometimes unlock a super hard. Like that's crazy for most games. But difficulty levels do help, certainly, for players that kind of just suck, which I put myself in that category. I'm definitely not the best first-person shooter player out there. I'm not playing with a mouse and keyboard. I'm not trying to headshot or do 360 no-scopes or anything like that. I just want to generally feel like I'm participating and move the story along. So it is nice to see easy modes in that case. But then there are also a ton of games, more games that I tend to prefer to play, like puzzle games, that don't quite make a lot of sense having difficulties, and more often than not, they'll just pop up hints or skips for very specific puzzles or very specific challenges. There is an alternate universe version of this game, almost certainly, that would just have adaptive difficulty, and so if you died because an enemy is in one place, they would just not spawn that enemy, or they would internally reduce his health, or they would program most enemies to only shoot you and reduce your health by like 25%. So you would never die just because of one person. You would have to play pretty badly amongst multiple enemies. Those are all tricks that more modern games pull off with secret algorithms towards adaptive difficulty. Some are very good, some are very bad, and just wait for you to actually die before they make any changes. Anyways, that's going to be it for this recording. As always, I ask you to like, share, subscribe, comment, and watch every second of my videos. If you want a friend or follow me on any social media, there's a bunch of links down below. And if you want to support me further, there's a link to Patreon, or you can friend me on Steam and gift me a game off my wish list. Thank you for watching. Have a good evening.